half a dozen men left with Benjamin Stark on his ill-fated ranging. Only 2 ever returned. One of those 2 was Jafer Flowers. But who is Jafer Flowers, and why is he so important to the story? Jafer Flowers is a Night's Watchman and a Seasons Ranger, but that's not why he's so important. Jafer's importance lies in one single line before his death. Sir Jeremy had finished the job of hacking its head off, yet had died all the same when the headless corpse pulled his own dagger from its sheath and buried it in his bowels. But why is this so important? Well, it's simple. This is the only instance in the entire series where a Wight uses a weapon. In the books, Wights don't use weapons. Instead, they prefer to kill their enemies with their hands, through strangulation, tearing them apart, or twisting the victim's head off. They have been seen on multiple occasions leaving behind perfectly good and useful weapons, but on this one occasion, the Wight that was once Jafer Flowers used a dagger. This means that the Wights aren't ignoring weapons because they can't use them, but rather that they choose not to use them. I can see 2 possible reasons for this. From least likely to most likely, they are as follows. The first option is that their weapons would be destroyed by the cold. We've seen the extreme cold that surrounds the others damage human weapons before. The Wights could not use weapons because they'd shatter from being around the others for extended periods of time. Although, a big problem with this theory is that Othor ignored weapons of the guards he killed on his way to the Lord Commander's chamber, showing that this probably isn't the reason. Which means that the reason is probably... When fighting the Wights, they are often noted as being slow and clumsy. These characteristics bode poorly for the use of any weapons, as it means any foe with any skill whatsoever would be able to easily block and maneuver away from their attacks, making them useless. However, by using their hands, this presents a fighting style that no one has trained for, which requires improvisation to deal with, and even then can't easily be defeated. This gives the Wights the advantage. This shows us a level of thought and planning performed by the Wights previously not seen before, meaning that they aren't just a mindless mass of bodies, but thinking, calculating soldiers, which is far more terrifying. And for those who are still not convinced, just think. Were Othor and Jafer left near the wall to be taken in because the Wights couldn't cross the wall and they needed to be turned south of the wall? Or were they already turned and just using themselves as a Trojan horse waiting for the cover of darkness inside Castle Black?